Hello, Riggs High students. This is Mrs. Kringle, your librarian. Today I'm going to walk you through the process of determining a good research topic, how to construct a solid research question related to that topic, and how to decide on effective search terms to use in order to yield the best search results. I'm going to demonstrate this process using ProQuest, which is a research database filled with full-text articles from 1,700 plus magazines, newspapers, and scholarly journals. The articles cover a wide variety of topics and subject areas. ProQuest is a perfect database to use to find quality information on any kind of research topic you may choose. ProQuest is not only a very large database, it's also a very powerful search engine. So before we begin our search, we need to think carefully about our research questions, as well as our topic search terms, what we plan to use to search the databases. I find it helpful before beginning any kind of research or searching to create a sticky note where I map out my research question and search terms. In order to create a sticky note, go over here to the left-hand side, left-hand corner of your screen where there is a search bar. And in that search bar, go ahead and start typing sticky notes. And you'll see that that brings up the app for you. To open up a new note or to create a new note, you have the option to either open or new note. I already have one open, so I'm not going to open a new one, but for you guys to start a new note, that's what you'd either click on open or new note. So I'll just show you what the sticky notes look like. This is where you can just type on it, just like almost like a Word document. Okay. I think this is a great place, like I said, to organize your thoughts before you get started on your research. One of the things I did before I started my research was I started by asking myself, is there something I'm really interested in, or what am I really interested in? And that's where you should start your research. What is something you're really interested in? Because you want to find a topic that you're passionate about, because you're going to be spending a lot of time with it. You also might want to start thinking about maybe having more than one topic that might interest you, because you might find as you start your research that one topic lends itself better to scholarly research than another. The research process is circular and not linear. That means your topic choice informs your research, and your research informs your topic choice. Meaning your research, you may find as you start researching that you need to tweak or change your topic a little bit as you go along. I'm going to show you a short little video here that's going to explain this process in a visual way so you can understand how the research process works and how it's circular.
Meet Jenny. Jenny has a research project due in a few days. She picked a topic when her professor first assigned the project. She chose her favorite TV show, Bridezillas. It seemed like a good idea, but now that she's doing her research, she's having a lot of trouble finding sources. She's freaking out. Jenny's problem started with her mental model of the research process, which she sees as a one-way street. Like many students, Jenny thinks that once a project is assigned, she should pick her topic right away. Then she can move on to finding sources and reading through them. And once she has all her sources, she can start writing her paper. But the research process is a lot messier than that, and picking your topic is intertwined with finding and reading sources, and writing and editing your paper. Picking your topic is research. When you first pick a research topic, it isn't set in stone. It's just an idea that you test with some exploratory research. If it looks good, you find and read some more sources. At this point, you might find that the published research leads you away from your original topic. That's okay. You can let the research you find guide you and tweak your topic a bit. And by the time you've gone through this cycle a few times, you may find that you have enough sources to start writing and editing your paper. Even then, as you're writing, you may find that you need to pull in additional pieces of information, and you may return to the research cycle. So, let's wind back the clock for Jenny, bringing her back to the day her professor assigned this project, and allow her to do it again with this research model. Again, Jenny picks a topic that is interesting to her, the reality TV show Bridezillas. As she tests the topic with some internet research and in article databases, she discovers that there's lots written about it in the popular press, but not much scholarly research which her professor requires. Realizing that maybe her topic is a bit too narrowly defined, Jenny decides to tweak it by broadening her scope to reality TV in general. But when she tests this new topic, she winds up drowning in a sea of research, all of which has to do with reality TV, but doesn't tie together to help her form a coherent thesis. Back at the drawing board, she wonders if there's a happy medium between Bridezilla's, which is too narrow a topic, and reality TV, which is too broad. Since Bridezilla's is just one of several reality TV shows about brides and weddings, perhaps there's more written about this subgenre. Testing this topic in some of the library's research databases yields a promising but not overwhelming number of results. Instead of realizing too late that her topic was unresearchable, Jenny built in the time to test and tweak her topic, so she could take her original idea and shape it into a topic that she still finds interesting and can realistically use for a short research assignment. If you want to know more about the research process or about how to pick a good topic, ask a librarian for help.
Okay, so what I hope you understood about watching that video is how circular the research process is and how much of your research will inform your topic choice just as much as choosing a topic will. So when I was choosing my topic, I'm going to bring up my sticky note here. I thought about some things that interest me. And one of the things that I'm very interested in is the topic of controversial school mascots. So when I was determining my guiding research question or thesis, I decided I wanted to look at what are the enduring psychological and social emotional impacts of controversial school mascots on healthy youth development. When thinking up your research question, you don't want to craft a question that you can answer with a simple yes or no answer. Instead, you want to craft a question that elicits an open-ended response. So my question, what are the enduring psychological and social emotional impacts of controversial school mascots on healthy youth development, allows me to answer that with an open-ended response. If I had just crafted the question to say, are there enduring psychological and social emotional impacts of controversial school mascots on healthy youth development, all that would elicit would be a yes or no answer, which would not yield a very helpful or interesting research project. So you need to keep in mind as you're developing these questions to make sure that they're open-ended. Now, when I go to do my search, I'm not going to type in that whole guiding question or topic because that's just going to overwhelm the database. I know a lot of you, I see you when you go to do searches, you'll go to Google, you'll go to a database, and you'll type in what are the enduring psychological and social emotional impacts of controversial school mascots and healthy youth development. We don't want to find the answer to that written out in a paper that someone's already done. We want to come to our own conclusion to the answer to that, okay? If you type in that whole question like that, what the database and what ProQuest is doing is it's looking for each one of those words. And so it will only retrieve either very limited results because it's looking for enduring psychological, social, emotional impacts, controversial school mascots, healthy youth and development. It's looking for all of those words. So it's either going to retrieve very little or it's going to retrieve way too much. Okay, so we need to break down our research questions into topics that we can use to make keywords. So as I look at my question there, I see three main topics. The topics that I see are psychological / social emotional impacts, controversial school mascots, and healthy youth development. Those are the three main topics of my question. What I need to do before I even go into the database or even start doing any sort of research is I need to think about keywords that are related to these topics. So when I look at psychological and social emotional impacts, some of the related terms that come to my mind are psychology, racism, stereotypes, social emotional development. When I think about controversial school mascots, here are some related terms that come to my mind. School mascots, sports mascots, Native American mascots. When I think about youth development, here are some related words that come to my mind. Mental health and self-esteem. Those are all keywords that I can then go to the database and try. I'm not sure which combination of keywords is going to be the best or yield the best results. That's where I'm going to have to play around and try different combinations because each combination is going to yield different results. Okay, so once you have your keywords, that's when you can go and begin your searching. Now, I just want to show you example. I'm going to go to Google. Most of you like to start your searching on Google, and I'm going to show you why that's not very effective. So I'm going to type in school mascots because that's my topic. Okay, and what pops up immediately are images. So I'm seeing a lot of images here. And then as I come down, list of high schools in South Dakota, list of mascots, 30 unusual high school mascots, 26 awesome school mascots. I do see one here. Maybe it looks interesting. South Dakota bill to ban discriminatory school mascots fails. But this is from something called inforum.com, which I'm not really sure what that is. 10 most common high school mascots. So far, not seeing very much promising. There. This one looks interesting. It's from the Rapid City Journal, this is on page 2 of 18,600,000 results. But again, I'm looking down here. It's mostly just weird mascot names, not very helpful. Okay, I found maybe 2 results that look maybe interesting, one from the Rapid City Journal, one from inforum.com. But here's what happens when you use Google. Not only do you get a huge amount of results, you're not going to get very good results. You're going to have to wade through a lot of garbage, and a lot of it you're going to have to evaluate to determine whether it's reliable. To me, it's a waste of time. The best place to go when you start your research, so you're not wasting time, so you're getting quality resources, is to go to a database. Databases are enclosed search features where the only information that's contained in those databases is either books or article information. So right away, it's going to be scholarly. Right away, I know the quality is there. I'm not going to have to evaluate them to determine if these resources are good, like I would if I used Google. Also, they're cited, and that's really an important feature to note because you do have to create citations for your teachers, your language arts teachers, telling them where your information came from. If you use Google resources, you have to create those citations. If you use database resources, they're already cited. So not only are they reliable, but they're cited. So let's get into our database we're going to look at today, and that's going to be ProQuest. So to get to ProQuest, we're going to need to go to the Pierre School District homepage, which is peer.k12.sd.us. Once we're on the homepage, we're going to put our mouse over the word schools. We're going to go down to TF Riggs High School. When we mouse over that, we get another pop-up menu, and you'll see TF Riggs Library right there. Go ahead and click on that. I already have it open, so I'm just going to go to the tab. To find the databases, we're going to go to this tab right here, which says Riggs Research Resources. We're going to click on that. And databases that we're going to be looking at, the ProQuest database is going to be over here on the right-hand side of the page under the heading South Dakota State Library Databases. These databases are not free. You can't go to the internet and type in ProQuest and then start searching it. You have to come in through a library database. And the South Dakota State Library is the one that pays for citizens of South Dakota to access these databases like ProQuest. They're not free. Like I said, that also indicates the information is going to be quality. So like I said, the state library pays for you guys to use it. As long as your device is within the boundaries of the state of South Dakota, you do not need a barcode and password to use it. However, if you plan to travel outside of South Dakota and you would like to use the databases, come see me here in the Riggs Library and I'll give you the Riggs High barcode and password. But today we're going to go to ProQuest. This is an alphabetical listing of the databases. ProQuest is down in the P's, about halfway down the page. When you find it, go ahead and click on it. ProQuest is such a huge, huge database, okay, that I always suggest clicking on full text to start with. Full text means that you will only retrieve results that you can read right then, print right then, and use right then for research. If you unselect this, you will get not only full text, but you'll also get some abstracts and citations of articles that are not available in ProQuest. Now, I can't get those articles for you through something called interlibrary loan. I can go to the state library and have them get that article for you from another library, either in the state or outside of the state. But that can take anywhere from a couple of days to a couple of weeks. So if you find something you like, if you're not searching full text, bring it in if it's not available full text in ProQuest and say, hey, Mrs. Kringle, can you help me find this? And I will do my best to get it. But like I said, when we're just starting our searching, always click full text. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and do a search on school mascots. Like I said, I won't know which ones are the best keywords to use until I get into playing it. Also, make sure that your sticky note is available so you can kind of refer back to that as you need to. So I typed in school mascots. What I want you to see is that ProQuest is trying to be helpful. It's offering me other suggestions. It says, hey, I see you're searching school mascots. Maybe what you're searching is controversy over school mascots. And there's the word controversy. I never even thought about that. That might be a word I could add to my keyword list. But if these are all links, I can click on it. It will redo my search. But I'm going to start just with school mascots. So I'm going to type that in. I'm going to click this magnifying glass right here, and it's going to do my search. And what it does, and this is how you can see how big ProQuest is, how much information, out of only their full text results in here, 133,561 of them have the word school and mascot somewhere in the article. And as I look through here, I just want you to get an idea about the differences between Google and a database. So we were looking at Google and we saw a lot of like 25 high school mascots you should know. Well, when I look here, I see articles from the Salt Lake Tribune, from PS Newswire, from Orlando Sentinel. I'm seeing a whole lot more reliable resources right away to begin with, and they seem to have more to do with the controversy of school mascots and about school mascots and schools, which is good. I see one here, though I'm not really getting the youth development aspect of mascots on youth development. Like I see mascots, unmasked school mascots signed off about what's hot and not about their gig. So I'm still not getting the best results, and I've got way too many. So one of the ways to narrow it and to focus your results is the easiest way is to add another keyword. So I'm going to go up here. I'm going to go and I'm going to bring up my sticky note. I'm going to see what other things do I think I'd like to search with school mascots. One of them is stereotypes, and maybe that might yield something interesting because stereotypes have a detrimental effect on people. So I just want to see when I add the word stereotypes to school mascots, what comes up. I'm going to search. Now that adding that third keyword there narrowed my results to 3,714, which isn't terrible. I'm going to scroll down and kind of see, and I'm seeing a lot about schools and judges reinstating mascots, schools pulling mascots, school mascots shouldn't invoke racial stereotype, again, from a newspaper. So interesting, but still not getting at that youth development. So I think I need to go back to my keyword list and maybe pull something from either the psychological, social, emotional impacts or from this youth development section. I'm going to add the word psychology. So I'm going to put in and psychology. By adding the word and in these other keywords, what I'm telling ProQuest to do is go back and redo the search, but only retrieve results that have all four of those words in them. And so as I do that, I've now narrowed my results to 427. I've narrowed it down significantly. And as I look down here, I'm going to see if I'm going to get some more tailored things. Mascots, team names, and cultural sensitivity from the magazine Education Digest. And as I look below that, I can see kind of an excerpt from the article, so you might be able to get some information from there. That might be interesting. If I look down here, how Native American team names distort your psychology. That's interesting. So I'm going to click on that. And when I put my mouse over the title here, it becomes a hand, which is a link. When I click on that, here is the full text of that article. Okay, you might be wondering what the highlighting means. You can hide the highlighting if you want. What it's showing you is these are your search terms, and here is where those search terms appear in your article. What I love about this, and this article is very interesting, it says the problem, says Stephanie Freiberg, isn't that the conversation is about symbols. It's the assumption that the symbols don't have real-world consequences for living people. A professor at the University of Michigan and a member of the Tulalip tribe, Freiberg has spent years studying the psychological effects of Native stereotypes and logos on both Native Americans and non-Natives. She's seen precisely who gets hurt. So this is a very interesting article and maybe very helpful to my topic. What I like here is I have name of a woman who's been doing research in this area. So maybe I can now go and add her to my keyword list and do a search on her research. In ProQuest is awesome because over here on the right-hand side of the page, it says related items, and it's showing you articles that are similar to the one you're looking at. These are all links, so you can go and look at them. Just a FYI, though, these may not all be full text. But like I look at this one, it says addressing the real impact of Native mascots and team names on American Indian and Alaska Native youth. That might be a really interesting article that I could look at. The other thing that's really wonderful about ProQuest is we look a little further down on the right-hand side, I see search with indexing terms. This is how ProQuest, or the staff at ProQuest, has cataloged or organized this information. These are the keywords they're using. So maybe I can use this to build up my keywords. And I see the words suicide and suicide attempts. Maybe that's something I want to add under my youth development tab as another keyword I could try. I could try school mascots and suicide attempts. That might yield some other results. I think that's wonderful. Feature of ProQuest is just those indexing terms and then the related articles. I want to call your attention to what we call the function keys up here in the right-hand side. You can save this article as a PDF. You can email it to yourself and you can print it. I really encourage you to email and print all articles that you come across that you think might interest you, because it's very hard to go back and recreate searches and get the same results. And so sometimes it's hard to find those articles again. So I say, even if you end up not using it, email and print it. Okay, so that you have it. You also have the cite function. Remember I was talking about on Google that if you use a resource on Google, you have to create the citation for it. Citing just means we give credit to where credit is due. When you use Google, like I said, it's not there. You have to create it. When you use a database, it's cited for you. So I'm going to click on cite just to show you what it looks like. Okay, so right now we default to the American Psychological Association. We don't use that style here at Riggs. We use the Modern Language Association. So if I scroll down, you'll see MLA 8th edition. That's the latest edition. We're going to click on that. Okay, and ProQuest went ahead and did that search. It changed my citation. So this should be Modern Language Association 8th edition, of the citation. Now, it's important, you can copy and paste this into your Works Cited page, but it's important that you talk to your language arts teacher to make sure that this is a correct citation, because sometimes there might be something out of place in the citation. Here's what the citation is telling me. It tells me that this article is written by Zach Stanton. The title of it is How Native American Team Names Distort Your Psychology. It appeared in ProQuest on July, and the article was written July 16th, 2020. And here is the URL for this article. Okay, so that's what a citation shows you, and what shows the person reading your paper is this information. So that the reason you include them is if your reader wants to go back and do the research for themselves, they now have a way to get back to that article. But it's really important that you talk to your language arts teacher, like I said, and make sure that this is correct, okay? So I'm going to hit done here because I'm done with that. I want to go back to results because I want to show you another feature. If you decide that 427 is too much to look through, when really actually that's not a very unmanageable number, but if you think it's too much, I want to show you another way in ProQuest you can narrow your results. So we talked about how you can narrow your results by adding keywords. You can also narrow your results by going over here to source type. You can see that there are scholarly journals here, dissertations and theses, newspapers, magazines, and trade journals. If you just want to look at scholarly journals, you can just click scholarly journals. ProQuest will redo your search for you. And out of the 427 results we retrieved, only 102 of them are from scholarly journals. Now, scholarly journals are journals that are written for academia, so like Education Digest, American Indian Quarterly, Canadian Journal of Native Education, Historical Journal of Massachusetts. So I'm just calling some names that I'm seeing right here, okay? So that you can kind of see what scholarly journal, multicultural education. Okay. Now, what's really important, though, is if you do apply a filter, we call that a filter. So our filter was scholarly journals, that you take it off before you do a new search, because anytime you do a search, it's going to limit it to scholarly journals until you remove that filter. So I'm going to remove it by hitting this X right here and go back to my 427 results. Here's another way you can narrow your results, and I think it's important too, is publication date. Let's say you just want to look at what's been published about this topic in the last 5 years. So I'm going to click that. and that narrowed it down to 150. Okay, so that's what's been published in the last 5 years on this topic. Again, we need to remove the filter before we do a new search. Okay, and that's how you can use ProQuest. It's a very powerful database. It's got a lot of wonderful resources in it. Just remember that when you're searching it, you need to use keywords, not whole questions. And then think about how you're going to narrow it, either by adding another keyword or by limiting source type or limiting to date. If you have further questions for me about ProQuest or about the research process, come find me in the RIGS library. Have an awesome day.